Hi, I'm Chief Gary Sparks with the Douglasville Police Department. Today we want to give you some safety tips concerning traffic stops. Take a look.
So you look in your rearview mirror and see flashing blue lights. What do? Remain calm. Yield to the right and pull your vehicle over into an off-road area that is safe for both you and the officer. Put your car in park. Remove your foot from the brake and turn the radio off. Remain in your vehicle. Have your driver's license readily available for the officer. Keep your hands on the steering wheel, visible for the officer at all times. If you need to retrieve any items from the interior, explain what you're reaching for to the officer and avoid any sudden movements. Rolling the window down completely establishes a level of trust with the officer and allows for ease of interaction during the routine traffic stop. Be courteous and polite. Be cooperative and willing to follow the officer's instructions. During a routine traffic stop, the officer will return to his vehicle to run the tag and driver's license verification and complete a citation if one is necessary. Once the officer returns and approaches your vehicle, whether or not a citation or warning is issued, please remain calm, courteous, and cooperative. Sign the citation acknowledging you agree to appear in court, and do not dispute the citation with the officer. The officer will give you a court date to explain or defend your infraction.
Okay, ma'am. Like I told you, I did clock you at 51 in a 35 mile per hour speed zone. I did issue a citation, okay? This here is going to be your court date. I just need a signature from you stating that you received a copy of this citation, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Here's your driver license.
Thank you.
Along with a copy of the citation, okay? Do you have any questions or concerns for me?
No, sir.
Okay, well, you have a nice day, okay?
Thank you.
Thank
too.
you.
Following these few simple steps will help ensure a safe interaction for both you and the officer.
I hope these few tips help you as it relates to dealing with law enforcement and traffic stops. Not only in traffic stops, but in all encounters with law enforcement. We hope that all our encounters are safe for the citizens as well as for our officers. Again, we want you to be safe, and if you have any problems with the Douglasville Police Department, don't hesitate to give us a call and make your concerns known. I would add that Georgia is a right to carry state, and we hope that if you are carrying, that on these traffic stops and all encounters, please let the officer know that you are carrying. This will ensure your safety and our officers' safety. Thank you, may God bless you, and may God keep our community safe. We are one.
Today's world exposes our youth to life experiences that are well beyond that which their years should allow. Violence, trauma, poverty, injustice. Our children's lives and their livelihoods are in constant danger. Wisdom, Inc. is a community-based organization designed to save young lives by reducing violence and assisting youth in their personal development. Wisdom stands for wise individuals structuring and developing youthful minds. Through our collective wisdom, we can change lives for the better. Wisdom, Inc. Reducing violence, developing youth, saving lives. Today's world exposes...
My name is Lauren, and welcome to TV 1061. Join our network and broadcast your film live across the continent. Come to our studio and film and stream your TV show, sitcom, and showcase and broadcast it worldwide. Combine multimedia with your live stream. Independent filmmakers show your movie and afterwards interview your cast live. Sponsors, advertisers, I'm talking to you. This is your chance for global exposure. These are exciting times that we're in. Traditional TV is but a thing of the past. TV 1061 is on the Roku platform. Roku is an industry leader in internet TV. It has a viewership of 53 million and counting. It is the most popular and fastest growing internet TV platform. If you are interested in developing and showcasing your movie or show, or interested in coming in as a sponsor or advertiser, please send us your contact information with a brief description of your interest to 1061tv@gmail.com. Thank you. Hi, my name is
Hi, I'm
Lauren.
Michael Kyle, your funniest man on the planet, and you're watching TV 1061, your global network. Stay tuned, because that's how they do it over here. Big time party. All right, see y'all later. Bye.
Hi, this is James Ingham, and you're watching TV 1061, your global network.
Hi, I'm Harry Lennox, and you're watching TV 1061, your global network.
You are tuned in to Talk Show Kings on TV 1061.
Man, what they gonna do with this black on black crime, man? I'm sick of this. Thank you for watching another edition of Talk Show Kings on TV 1061. We'll be seeing you soon.
Welcome to another episode of Talk Show Kings. Today is Mother's Day, so most of our topics, at least two of our topics, we'll be talking about the mothers today and women in general. But first, let me take the time out to thank our producer, Felix J. Washington, for putting this show together, and also thank the community of Douglasville and everyone around the world watching for letting us into your home. Just know that we are streaming live on YouTube TV 1061 and also Roku TV 1061. So check us out there. First, let me introduce myself. My name is King Eric, and to my left,
I am King Jason, and to my left,
I'm King Darwin, and
together we are
the Talk Show Kings.
All right, fellas. Again, let me just say Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Yes, Happy Mother's Day.
Most definitely, Happy Mother's Day.
All right, let's get into some of the hot topics for the week. I know one of the hot topics and a lot of things that I've been seeing on social media is this movie, Sinners. Now, I know that King D, me and myself and King D were the only ones that watched that movie. And I think we came up with the same sentiment of, it's just like people out here. I mean, you're allowing bad energy into your homes or into your space. Now, just to speak on that part of it, even though you didn't see it, what do you think about it?
I mean, I can go old school and talk about some spiritual stuff if you like. No, yeah, I haven't seen Sinners yet, and don't really plan on seeing it because I'm very skeptical on what type of movies my wife and I watch. But first of all, I mean, my great grandmother used to tell me, be careful who you let in your home because everyone has a different type of spirit within themselves, and even, people have different vibes and different energies and all that kind of stuff. So, seeing and talking about having a welcome mat at your door, I've been told that, it introduces or welcomes all type of spirits in your home. Now, I can't say out of my life, I've experienced some of those before. I mean, even if I don't have a welcome sign at my door, I'm letting all kind of people, well, not freely, but I've experienced, people talking to me, come visit my home and bring what they have. So, yeah.
I get it.
What about you, King D? What are your thoughts?
My thoughts about the movie, King Eric, is I think it played a good role, showed a good analogy on how people don't know how serious it is about really, welcoming people into their home, and how you got to understand how the whole thing played out, with the werewolf, well, the vampires, I would say, the vampires, and how literally, they have really sucked the blood. They can suck the blood out you.
That's that's the main thing that I got it from it as well. And when you mentioned it today, it was funny because I was thinking the exact same thing. We sit here and we let people in our lives that drain us of our time, drain us of our energy, and we don't have anything else to give.
That is exactly true and right. I mean, especially when we come home tired from work, we interact with different type of spirits every day.
Especially
at work.
Especially at work. So one day you might get up and you're full of energy, but when you going into the workspace and you're working and operating around all these other people with these other type of energies and attitudes, it's like a vampire. They're literally like vampires.
It literally
sucking the blood out of you and
Exactly.
it's draining you from your life source. No
Sucking
doubt.
all the energy out of you. That is exactly true. Because I used to always ask my grandma, because my grandma, she's retired. She used to work at AT&T, formerly called Bell South, for like 30 plus years. And every time she come home, I always ask Grandma, how was work? It was work. She don't want to really explain, what she has interacted with and who she interacted with. I mean,
right, and sometimes you don't. I know for me, when I leave work, I'm trying to leave work.
At work.
Yeah. So when I'm sitting in the car before I go in that house, I'm trying to get myself together.
Yeah.
Now, I'm thankful that I don't have the type of job that I had before, where I had to bring work home with me. But now I'm at a position where I can leave work at work.
Yeah.
And I'm appreciative of that. And I don't have anyone to drain you, constantly draining you, taking your blood per se, taking your energy away. And that's no way to live and no way to interact with other people, letting other people in, that type of energy in your space to drain you of the energy and the things you have going on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, I concur, brother. It's definitely rough in the corporate world. I mean, I remember when I used to work in corporate America, and I mean, I've experienced it myself personally.
Yeah.
Working around vampires, literally. In a movie they portrayed them as being, Caucasian at first, but then guess what? They turned the blacks into vampires as well.
Exactly.
So the color doesn't
matter.
matter.
Doesn't
today.
matter.
It doesn't matter when you working in that workspace and it's that negative energy flowing, and you might have the boss on your neck, micromanaging you. It can become stressful and it's tiring. And at the end of the day, like you say, I mean, when you think about it, you're like, man, I need to get these hours. But I'm going to tell you, anytime they came up to me and said, hey, do you want to leave early? Yes, I'm ready to go. I mean, you think about it, I'm just literally serious. Yes, I'm ready. Yeah, I'll be the first one to sign up to leave early, even though you might be short a couple hours on your check. But, during them days, hey, get me out of there.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not even just even at the job. I mean, again, back to the welcome mat at your home.
Yeah.
One of the parts in the movie, I want to call him the head vampire.
Mm-hmm.
He says to the guy, "We want you, little Sammy," and the devil wants you, little Sammy. So it's things like that. Yes, the devil wants you because he wants you to join his party.
Correct.
But we have to be wise enough to know that we can't be all up in everybody's negativity. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes, like they say, a clown, you gonna join the circus. You're gonna be a clown. You're gonna join the circus or whatever the saying is. But same thing. I mean, but the same thing. You can't go around being in everybody's space because you're gonna pick up negative energy.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it was so many. It was so many points.
Yeah, it was so many
You
points.
know,
It's like
King Jason. I know you haven't watched it, but it was just so many life analogies it was showing that you can actually, pinpoint. Just like, when the head vampire was running from the Indians, running from the natives, and the other people took him in. You got to be careful who you allow to take in.
Exactly.
Because, it's a lot of people wearing a lot of masks these days. And that's just being 100 with you, I mean, so.
This may be a interesting comparison or not, but it kind of reminds me for what you guys are talking about, how people always say be careful who you hang around with, because whoever you hang around with is how you're going to turn out. And that's why, you see people who are rich, they hang around rich people. If they hang around rich people, they're going to become rich. They're going to learn the tricks and the ins and outs of what it is to become rich. That's why you see them hanging out at the golf course together. Or if you hang around someone who's, a drunk, it's going to make you a drunk, stuff like that. So it's
sort of along the same lines. Just making sure that it's positive energy that you're hanging around.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and I guess we can move on to the next hot topic.
Let's do it.
And that can lead us right into the Pope. The new Pope.
The new Pope.
It's funny how I ain't gonna say it's funny. It's interesting how they select the Pope. Black smoke, we don't have a Pope.
Right.
White smoke,
we have a Pope.
We have a Pope.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah.
A lot of symbolic.
Yeah.
So what does that, and from my understanding, he's from Chicago. And there was a picture surfaced on the internet with him being at the Chicago White Sox.
Yeah. Him and his, I think him and his brother. Or just
him and his brother was at the White Sox game.
I saw that one.
When they was in the World Series, when they won the World Series.
Yeah, to my understanding, he's a Chicago native. But for the last, 15, 16 years, he's been in Peru, where he was last ministering at. And to my understanding, I think his mom is Peruvian, I think, if that's right. So his mom is Peruvian, and his father is, I can't remember where his father's from, but yeah.
Well, see, I don't know. I don't really keep up with the Pope, the Catholic, and all of that. I don't never really keep up with it because everything I've ever heard about it was they like little boys. So I just stayed away from it, steered away from that negativity on that. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not Catholic, but I have heard those stories throughout my lifetime, over in the U.S. and other countries about the issues with popes, molesting or, little kids. But that is one reputation, well, maybe not a reputation, but it is one thing on their plate that they have.
Right. And I know that I'm trying to remember if I can remember it correctly. They were talking about how this is the first Pope to be from the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So if this is, I wonder, out of all the popes that they've had, this is like which one? The
200 and something, somewhere in the 200s.
So out of all of them popes, this is the only one that came from the United States?
To my understanding as well, yeah.
Wow.
Well, they trying to say that he's supposed to be the one that's hopefully bridged the gap, between the countries and the United States, and especially with all this tariffs and all this stuff that's going on right now.
If that's true,
I don't
think
know.
that's
I don't know how true.
Well,
it
I know
is.
the first thing he said was he wished peace.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they all do that.
Yeah.
But that's what they're saying.
And speaking of the new Pope, recently I've been hearing that how the Trump administration has been very unpleased of how he addresses himself and how he speaks in different languages other than English, if English is his native language. I don't care. I mean, the Pope speaks, I think they said 12 or 15 languages.
Right.
That just because he's from America don't mean he should only speak in English. To me, that's an insult. That's very offensive for you to even say that. I mean, I get it that we're Americans, but no.
See, that's even, I'm trying to hold back but I'm just look. That's even ignorant. That shows just how ignorant our
Very.
administration is right now.
Very.
Because for you to say something about a pope that's supposed to be internationally known, that's supposed to speak, who have, as far as I'm concerned, they have dioceses all over the world, he should be able to speak all them different types of languages. And if you don't know that, if you can't understand that, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I may be wrong on the number. It may not be 15 languages, but it's a nice sum, a nice
I'm pretty
large
sure you
amount.
got to know a few.
You got to know a few.
You have to.
You just
yeah.
can't know one language.
So what? You supposed to?
pretty sure.
So he's supposed to have a translator with him when he going to Spain and speaking Spanish. He's supposed to have a translator. He's just supposed to know one language. He don't even know English. If you think about it, if you look at it, he don't know English. He can't speak it correctly, but he want to talk about something. Let's move on.
I got you.
Let's move on.
I got you.
Yes.
So, gonna raise my blood pressure today. Come on, man. We just
Don't
got
let them
finished
steal
talking
your
about.
energy. They sucking your energy.
sucking
They draining
talking
your
about sucking energy.
And that's one example. Is when we feed into these negativities, and because we always want to practice balance, right?
Right.
So
Correct.
You got to be
So,
in balance.
Yeah, that's just what we have to deal with, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But let's move on to one of the topics for today. Let's talk about Mother's Day. And what is a good mother in your opinion? And I say that because, people have grown up with mothers who they consider bad mothers. Well, if they have bad mothers, what do you consider a good mother? Because for me, I look at my mom and I look at my grandmother and I see the things that they did, the sacrifices that they made. They may not have done it in a way that was correct to other people, but they raised me and my brother to where we're able to stand on our own 2 feet and do the things that we need to do in life. They gave us some type of guidance. They gave us food. They kept kept a roof over our head. So to me, I feel like they are great examples of good mothers to me. How about you, King Jason?
Well, I mean, to me, a mother is going to do whatever she sees fit that is best for her children. That deals with protection, providing, a roof over their head, clothes on their back, food on the table. And especially, if a mom is single, especially for single moms, they're really, going to go that extra mile because it's just themselves to raise their child or children.
Yep.
So a mom is going to really, do what she sees best. And just kind of it's that what they call that motherly love.
Yep.
Motherly
love.
It's the what they call it, the not the sensitivity, but it's something like only moms have, and it's not the same love as a father gives his kids. So
right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, King D.
Oh no, I was just saying yes. And before I start, Happy Mother's Day to all the beautiful mothers in the world. But what I would say would fit a great mother for me would be the old-fashioned traditional mother, right? Like you say, your mother, your grandmother, they came up with the old traditions, respecting thy elders, teaching the child that when there's grown folks in the room, you got to lead a room. You got a lot of mothers today. They're sitting around gossiping with their girlfriends and what have you. And these children is listening in on the whole conversation and don't think these kids aren't intelligent enough to know what you guys are talking about. And some of the topics that some of these mothers are talking about is definitely inappropriate for children to be around.
Correct.
So I think those are some of the values that I think makes up a good mother, and of course, if you have being a mother, sometimes just like being a father, you got to make sacrifices. Yeah, hey, if it ain't a man in the house, you need to make sacrifices sometimes, you know, because that child need to grow up with a mother and a father.
Right.
And sometimes you just can't be, you know, stubborn and set in your ways and not wanting to be able to, you know, build a relationship with a male figure, you know, because sometimes women are stuck in their ways just like men, and we both have to change on that aspect, I think, too, you know, when we're dealing in a relationship, especially if you have kids and you're having kids with another female, or the female that you're dealing with has kids, and you've been invited over and you met the kids, you know, that's something that you really got to take serious, because those kids can become attached to you too. And once you become attached to them, you know, it's now you got a commitment, you got a, you know, responsibility, I think.
And I agree with you, but then you have those, I don't want to say that most or all women don't want a male in their life. I believe that now, with the way the world is and how some of these men is, it's hard for them to choose who they still have to protect their child.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah. You can't bring in. I mean, I heard a case in South Carolina. It was a couple of years back in South Carolina where this lady was with her boyfriend for like 6 or 7 months, and they had moved in together, and all of a sudden she at work one night, she come back and she got young kids, and
well, I'm not saying
he's did all these crazy stuff to him, and so
absolutely.
You know it's hard.
I
mean,
I'm not saying not to, you know, vet
Right,
that person that you're dating, but at the same time, once you have done the vetting, it takes a while to vet somebody. You know?
It does.
It doesn't. It's not 6 months. You know. So, but at the same time, you know that child is young. That child gonna be with you at least 18 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you know that you gotta be able to meet someone and be able to get to know that person, and it's gonna take time. But at the same time, be willing to sometimes bend on some of the things that you think are some of the things that, you know, that we say are what I would say deal breakers. Hey, you know, sometimes I can't get everything that I want in a woman either. But at the same time, I got to weigh the options. I got to weigh, you know, her good, and I got to weigh the bad. You know, some people, some women and some men as well, say, hey, if they do this, I'm out. If they that person, I'm out. But they might be good at certain areas, but not be bad at other, you know. But so you gotta, you know, I would say just you gotta weigh the person. But if it's anything to the point to where as though you think it could be abusive or negative, you know, in front of your kids or anything like that, of course you can't be, you know, bothered with them, of course. But
and then if I could jump in for a second, you know, kind of going back, piggyback on what we said earlier, it's really what their upbringing, because there are a lot of young moms now who were not raised by their mother, who maybe were raised by their father or grandparents, or maybe no one at all. Because when you talk about how there's some things a woman may not know how to do, I mean, that's true. There are some things women don't know how to do. Some women may not know how to wash clothes, or some women may not know how to cook or anything like that. Or some women may not know how to.
They don't know how to be a mother.
To be a mother. I mean,
some of these mothers are still teenagers.
Yeah, because at my church that my wife and I go to, the elder women are mostly called the mothers. And if a young sister in the church don't know anything, or, you know, may have a hard time, she'll go to one of the mothers and ask, can you show me how to do this? Can you teach me this? You know, just like, you know, teach me how to sew some clothes, or sew a hole in the shirt or something, you know, but it's just all different. It's just really depending on their upbringing.
Yeah, well, see, now that some of these, I mean, and I say men included, some of these women and men, they don't want to ask for help. They don't, and I don't even want to say they don't want to ask for help. They don't want to learn nothing. They don't want to learn
great point.
Both of those, though. Both of those.
Yeah, those are great
gotta
points.
Respect both of those.
Yeah, you have to. That is a great point. I mean, you know,
Because
looking.
a lot of them are stuck in their ways and
Yeah.
think that they know everything. And that's another thing that we got to change too, because it's some men as well. I'm not just trying to bash the mothers, because it's fathers too. But at the same time, you know, in vetting someone and knowing and getting to know someone, you have to see what type of home they came up in too, right? You know, if that woman only grew up with her mother and didn't grow up with a father, you know she's going to have certain issues that you're going to have to deal with and combat certain one day down the line, you know. But it's always good, I would say, you know, with me growing up and dating a lot of women that grew up with their mother and father, I seen a better balance in how they carried themselves, how they, you know, spoke, how they acted, how they raised their kids. It's just a difference, you know, not saying that single mothers, you know, are bad or, you know, or indifferent, but at the same time, sometimes the ones that single, even single fathers, you know, you have to ask for help. You have to ask for help, just like you were saying, you know, because it takes a village, right?
Correct.
You know, because back in the day, you know, that's what we did, you know.
Exactly.
The mother and the father gave the kids to the elders, and the elders took on that responsibility when the father had to go to work and the mother had to take care of the home or do what she had to do. You know, we had help. But nowadays, you know, it's hard to get some good help.
Yeah.
Because everybody is trying to do everything on their own, and then the elders that's there, they're like, they're not trying to be bothered. And so what do you do?
Well, like when I was a kid, when my late great grandmother was still living, she was the main person that would pretty much babysit everybody else's child while they go out and work. And this, even my grandmother, she was still working at that time. So my mom would take me to my great grandmother's house, especially during the summer or any type of school outing. I go stay at her house that whole day. And during while I'm there, my grandma's either going to have me doing some home chores or tell me to go outside and play until the sunset.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So
that's it.
That was it.
That's it.
She taught us how to do the things that, you know, we needed to do as being independent men and women. You know, we had a garden. You going out here? Come on, we going out here to this garden. We going to pick this. Let me show you how to pick these fruit. Pick these vegetables.
We didn't have a garden, but I remember going to my grandmother's house in the summertime down in Alabama, and we getting up early.
Yes.
You think you about to sit in this bed? No, we getting up early. We finna go get these greens. We finna go get some beans, and we finna get this corn and tomatoes. Let's go.
You give me flashbacks. My great grandma used to have me help her pick the greens and stuff.
Look here. Look at. Let me tell you something. I look back at all of that now. I look back at all of that now. And I look at my kids. It's funny because I tell them this all the time. If you were put in a situation, to where you had to survive off the land, I know some of my kids weren't gonna make it.
Me too.
I know at least 2 of them that's not gonna make it. Now one for sure, he gonna teach everybody else because they gonna try to run with him, but. And that's how it is now. Most men and most women will not survive if push comes to shove, and they were just thrown out and had to live off this land.
And I think that's what we need to really try to focus on trying to get back to.
Right.
I really do. I really would prefer to live off the grid. I'm not just joking. I'm dead serious. I think that
I'm with you on that one.
I think that a lot of people will be better off, literally, learning how to live off the land and not having all of these, I would say, necessities or perks and things that, you know, really pacifies you and make you kind of, you know, a lazy being, really, to me. Make you more lazier than what we were, because we had to, like you said, it wasn't no microwaves.
Look, my daughter was looking at me the other day. What are you gonna warm
Throw that in the
up
microwave.
with? I'm warming it up on the stove. Why?
I don't even own a microwave. Real talk. But you know, this is where, you know, our today men and women are at. And like you said, a lot of these mothers today, that's what they're doing. Throwing something in the go throw that in the microwave and eat, you know, and you know, and they're taking away a lot of valuable time that they could be actually teaching our kids.
That's
because
true.
we got to understand too. I did some type of research on that mother and father, the dynamics and the family dynamics, and how a lot of times I lost my train of thought, but a lot of times the men, as we know, are not in the home. So the mothers play a major, major role on the development of our kids today. You know, so we got to understand that they are the ones that are raising a lot of our youth. And we have to be able to at least give these women some type of coaching that's not getting it right, or some type of support for the ones that are getting it right. Because this is what's going on. Or these men is going to have to, step up and be a part, or the women is going to have to more open up, and allow, certain men to, meet certain men that they wouldn't normally say is a match for them, but like you say, it goes into the vetting. But at the same time, it was looking like the women is going to have to step up and be the leaders in our community, because that's who are raising our kids. If you look at it, the men, yeah, we're here, but we're not in all of these kids' lives. A lot of these fathers are not there. They're missing, and it's a lot of single mothers. So these mothers is going to have to really step up and play that part and learn the proper tools and things that's going to be needed for these children to be raised properly. Because as you see our kids now, they running around like a bunch of women.
And
and that's just real talk. Very sensitive, very emotional. They're not getting it from their fathers. They're getting that from their mothers. And that's what we got to be able to redirect. We got to redirect that energy. We got to, we got to make that change. I believe. That's just my own opinion. That's just coming from King Darwin. Don't shoot the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. But
no, I agree with you on some of the things, King Darwin. Especially for the single moms, because I grew up in a single mom household. It is important. I'm gonna kind of tell some more details.
But we'll jump back on into that when we come back. Right now, we have to take a little break, and stay tuned. We'll be back to finish up this topic and get on our next topic. Thank you.
Welcome to TV 1061. Join our network and broadcast your film live across the continent. Come to our studio and film and stream your TV show, sitcom, and showcase and broadcast it worldwide. Combine multimedia with your live stream. Independent filmmakers show your movie and afterwards interview your cast live. Sponsors, advertisers, I'm talking to you. This is your chance for global exposure. These are exciting times that we're in. Traditional TV is but a thing of the past. TV 1061 is on the Roku platform. Roku is an industry leader in internet TV. It has a viewership of 53 million and counting. It is the most popular and fastest growing internet TV platform. If you are interested in developing and showcasing your movie or show, or interested in coming in as a sponsor or advertiser, please send us your contact information with a brief description of your interest to 1061tv@gmail.com. Thank you. Hi.
To life experiences that are well beyond that which their years should allow. Violence, trauma, poverty, injustice. Our children's lives and their livelihoods are in constant danger. Wisdom, Inc. is a community-based organization designed to save young lives by reducing violence and assisting youth in their personal development. Wisdom stands for wise individuals structuring and developing youthful minds. Through our collective wisdom, we can change lives for the better. Wisdom, Inc. Reducing violence, developing youth, saving lives.
Hi, I'm Michael Collier, funniest man on the planet, and you're watching TV 1061, your global network. Stay tuned, because that's how they do it over here. Big time party! All right, see y'all later. Bye. Hi, I'm Michael Collier, funniest man on the planet, and you're watching TV.
You are tuned in to Talk Show Kings on TV 1061.
black on black crime, man. I'm sick of this. Thank you for watching another edition of Talk Show Kings on TV 1061. We'll be seeing you soon.
All right. Welcome back to the second half of our show. The first half we left off with King Jason getting ready to respond to. We can go back to that again.
You know, I totally honestly forgot what I was getting ready to say.
Here we go. Here we go.
We was just talking about the mothers.
So I was just saying, especially like moms, who have boys, especially boys, because I grew up in a single mom home. We were involved with the community basketball team. I didn't play no ball. I was doing other stuff. But my mom put my brothers in basketball for them to hang around and learn some stuff by the coaches. And, we had male mentors at our church that we hung around with to teach us how to grow up to be young men. And it's the same for the girls. I mean, if a mom is not able to, or is missing some things or whatever, her and her daughter can go hang out with their, grandmother, or find one of their church sisters or something to kind of, mentor them on some things. So, but yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, we definitely have to find mentorship
exactly.
for our kids. If you know that it's an element missing in their growth, because that's very important. It's just very important for that child to get both sides, But like you say, a lot of women feel that they can raise them on their own.
And that's one thing I don't like the fact of when Father's Day come around and the single women, they say, I'm the mother and the father. No, you're not, man.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
You're just the mother.
Yes. And we have to be real with that. Yeah, absolutely. You can't be the father.
And
as much as they want to be, but I get it, but we have to do better.
Right. And just so you know, if you want to call in, the lines are open. The lines are open. You can go ahead and give us a call. Again, we're streaming live on TV 1061, YouTube, and Roku TV 1061. But I guess this can move into our next topic. There was a video that we saw on TikTok about dressing about the way women dress at the gym. So apparently there's these shorts that called Define, or something like that shows everything while a woman is at the gym. And again, what do you think about that, King D?
Well,
I go to King D first because you got that look on your face like.
Wow. I mean, I go to the gym too. I've been trying to get back into the gym lately. So it do be women in there that kind of is dressing kind of a little bit, I would say.
Inappropriate?
Yeah, a little revealing. But for the most part, a lot of women do try to be conservative in the gym, I do believe. But you do have those ones that I think, like we were talking about earlier, want attention.
That want attention, right.
Because if you're going into the gym, dressed as such, and it's going to be a gang of men in there, and they're going to look. We're men. We're not just in there just to work out. We're there just to work out, but at the same time, I mean, we're human. We, if something walks by us, we're going to look. Not say that we're going to touch or we're going to approach or anything like that, but we still will look.
Right. And so this particular video, it was showing how they wear these outfits, these shorts or whatever, and then they'll get on social media and take pictures of the men looking at them, saying that they're a creep for looking at them, calling them a creep. Well, they wouldn't be a creep if you don't wear the stuff that if you don't wear that. Because for me, I've been when I go to the gym, I've seen women walk around, and some of them don't even be working out. They wear these outfits and they just walk around just so they can get attention. Now, if they do walk out, guess what workout they're doing? Squats. That's it.
Right. And that's real. And that's the part. That's literally it. And that's, but like you said, they're out here, this social media, these platforms, trying to get likes, trying to get views, trying to make money any way they can out here, you know. But dressing too revealing, I think, is very disrespectful for a woman, you know, to do. I think a woman should always dress appropriate, you know. I would say women need to think, if you had a 5 or 6 or 7 or 10-year-old daughter, would you want your daughter dressed the way you're dressed today? If you think that that's okay, then something's wrong with you, literally, you know. And we got to be able to talk to our women like that, because you gotta do and dress the way you would want that child to dress and to look today. Correct. You know, we still say, I'm grown. Well, that child is looking at you, and one day she's going to be grown. So just like us men, we can't go out here and parade around inappropriate and think these men is supposed to dress appropriate. You know, we you know, women think that they can run around and dress inappropriate, and then think that these young ladies that's watching y'all every single day is supposed to grow up and have some type of, you know, polish or some type of respect about how they dress. You know, we can't do that. We have to be able to look at ourselves and say, hey, would I want my child running around here dressed like that? And that's how we need to be able to, you know, respect ourselves and move, because right now we're moving real shaky.
King Jason?
Listening to both of these details, you guys are right. I mean, you want to make sure you dress appropriate, dress modest. You know, it kind of reminds me also when we go to the beach or even to a public pool, how people wear different types of swimwear that's, you know, pretty much revealing. I can't remember what name of this one celebrity, but it was a guy. It was some years ago. It was about he came to the beach with some kind of weird swimwear that was pretty much showing his whole manhood, and it was a big thing on the media and the news, to where it was like, well, that's completely inappropriate for especially a man to come to the beach looking like that. But anyways, but that goes the same thing for women, you know, especially at the gym. I mean, you're there to work out. You're not there to attract or gain attention. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've heard a lot of people say they found their girlfriend, boyfriend, or spouse in the gym. That's cool. But it's a big distraction to people when they're trying to work out and you over here half naked.
Exactly. I mean, it's okay to, you want to wear the spandex or the leggings or whatever, and then the
little tank top,
the tank top bra, or your little sports bra.
I mean,
that's fine. Yeah. But I mean, when you come in here and you wearing nothing but basically your drawers.
That's exactly what it is. I told my wife down the crowd, so that is basically they just wearing like underwears.
That's it. And you want to wear that, but I went country, your drawers, nothing but your drawers on. I mean, that's what you. I mean, then you expect somebody not to look at you when you don't have
and
nothing
to respect
on.
you though.
Right.
This is the part, respecting you though. How can you demand respect when you're not respecting yourself? That's my thing. If you walked and moved with respect, then you get respect. That's just how I always move. You know, I'm not going to give somebody respect if they don't respect themselves. I don't care. And especially because if you don't respect yourself, you're not going to respect me. I already know, because you don't even respect yourself. So I know you're not going to respect me.
That's true.
You know, and we got to get back to respect, you know, because just like I was saying too, and I was talking to somebody, and it's just about getting back to our natural state, right? And what is our natural state, right? Well, your natural state is when you come out that womb. When you come out that womb, you are natural. You understand? So when you're saying you putting on all these eyelashes, you putting on all this makeup, you putting on all this fake hair, you putting on all these nails, will you put that baby that just came out the womb with that on? Would you put that on that child that's 2 months old? That's inappropriate. So I feel that that's still inappropriate for a woman. Because even though these women think that it makes them look better, you only falling victim to society and what they have created for you to partake in to make you basically a consumer of their goods. You're not looking no better. I think you look beautiful with your natural hair, your natural, your natural skin, your natural nails. I think that's beautiful to me in a woman. I don't think a woman needs all of that to be beautiful. But these women, let them tell it, they got to have it. They're not coming out the house without it. So that's what I feel our women need to try to get back to, that natural state. If you can't put that 6-month-old baby on that, then you shouldn't be walking around in at 25, 35, 45. You need to be respectful, and our women need to be, because I have daughters. So I know that I want my daughter to be walking around here respectful. Wouldn't want my daughter running around here half-dressed, men gawking at her, or disrespecting her, or think that they can approach her in manners that, is not appropriate, because that's what happens.
That's
it. And then you get mad at a guy that approaches you inappropriate because you're looking inappropriate. Now you talking about you got an attitude and frowned all up, but look at you.
Yeah.
We can't, expect positive results when you're negative, looking negative.
Since today is Mother's Day, it kind of reminds me of how I think of my mom and my grandma. We had that conversation when I was growing up about how women now are being more revealing, and then they brought it back to where when I was growing up, we weren't like that. But it dawned to me, like, you got to remember, each generation, the way women dress are completely different. It's like every other generation become more revealing, showing more body and then less clothes. But my point is, it's like, you want to dress modest, be completely natural. We understand you want to look pretty, but to us in our eyes, you are already beautiful as you are. I tell my wife that all the time. She don't even wear makeup. My wife is gorgeous, and I tell her all the time, I say, girl, you look pretty either way you go. So women, you guys don't have to be so revealing just to get our attention. And speaking of our attention, a lot of times we even heard women say, we're not dressing for you. We're not dressing all like, just to make you. No, it's different reasons too they dress that way. It's competition with other women.
Oh, of course. That's one of the biggest things. That's one of the biggest reasons why most women dress and wear the things that they wear. Not saying that all of them, because I don't want that to get misconstrued that I'm saying all women do it.
They don't.
Just
you're right.
Most women that dress like that and wear things like that. First off, I don't have a problem with you wearing makeup. I don't have a problem with you want to wear your hair. I don't have a problem with none of that. If that's what you choose, if that's what you feel like is going to make you feel better, do what makes you feel better. That doesn't mean that I don't like you naturally, because I like natural, I like makeup, I like nails. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. But I want you to be happy. If that's what's going to make you happy, do what makes you happy. Because that's one of the things my grandmama always said to me. You got to do what makes you happy. Don't worry about what somebody else say.
Yeah, but you got to understand, too, their happy is getting attention.
Now, we talking now.
Yes,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But that's what makes them happy, attention. Women love attention.
But what about the ones that's wearing it?
That's
not wearing it for the attention.
All of them wearing it for attention.
I don't think all of them wear it for the attention.
King Eric,
D, come
all
on now.
Women is
I can't
wearing
say
it
all
for
of them.
attention. Because if it wasn't for attention, then they would be as natural as they came out the womb. If it wasn't for attention, it's got to be for attention. It can't be for anything else. You understand what I'm saying? Because you got to understand, it's got to be. Because if a woman says, okay, my nails, I can't go out here with my nails looking like this.
But that's
why
just
can't you go out there with your nails looking like this?
Well, you want to...
Because you're saying that, guess what? Even my nails don't look right to me. So if they don't look right to you, or my hair, or whatever, my lashes, or whatever you're saying that it doesn't look right to you. That's why you're changing it. So if you're changing it, you're changing it to be able to say that it looks right to me now, because now I'm going to look better to someone else. Because you're only making yourself thinking you're making yourself look better.
So
you're not thinking that you're making yourself look
let me ask you this. So
right?
he just, like King Jason just said, he tell his wife she's beautiful all the time. That's the way she is. Now, if she said that, and I tell my wife she's beautiful. Now, if she come back and say, well, I just want to get my nails done for me. I'm not doing it for nobody else because I like having my nails done. Does that further mean that she's doing it for attention?
Absolutely. To me, it does. Because guess what? Her friends, her girlfriend's going to be the first one. Oh, girl, look at your nails. Oh, girl, who did them nails for you? It might not be for a man, but it's for attention. It's for attention. It ain't got to be necessarily men's attention, but it's going to be for attention. You understand what I'm saying? Even if it's getting your hair done, even if it's putting those lashes on and getting compliments, because that's what it's for. It's not for anything else. It's for self. You might say it's for your self-gratification, but at the same time, your self-gratification is to get attention, to get compliments, so people can look at you and see you, and you feel that you look better. So that's why you do it. You're not going to do it because you think you look worse. You think? Who gonna do it because they think they look worse? Well, that's what they want to say. Oh, I look better. But if the only reason why these women do it is because of us men, we're not sticking to the code. Because if we stuck to the code, these women wouldn't do it. We wouldn't give them attention. If the code is that, guess what? I'm not messing with a woman that has kids because you pregnant out of wedlock. I'm not about to mess with this woman because she's disrespecting herself. She's walking out of here, you know what I'm saying? Because we got to stick to the man code. We don't even have our code no more. We don't stick to the man code. We have settled and bartered with this situation. And that's why they do it. But if we stuck to the code, it wouldn't be no OnlyFans page because we wouldn't partake in it because that ain't going with the man's code.
So that
because
sounds
you're
like
degrading yourself. Any woman that degrade themselves, we shouldn't be even messing with. It shouldn't even show them no part of attention.
So that sounds to me similar or more like as if the father figure has been missing for generations. Because if a father, to me, in my opinion, if a father was in the picture where he helped raise his kids, especially his daughters, then maybe that young lady may grow up not having that mentality to come looking like Jezebel,
absolutely.
But then again, it's really, it really, even if she does, that's her prerogative.
That's right. But
as long as her dad did his job. Yeah, as long as her dad did his job.
Wouldn't be that because we wouldn't even partake in it if we stuck to the man code. You understand what I'm saying? What they gonna do then? What these women gonna do then if we stuck to our man code? Think about it.
Find a woman.
Or something else, because a lot of these women, I'm not saying all women, but a lot of these women would be left manless if we stuck to our man code. That's the problem. That's the biggest problem, is that we have bartered and settled. And a lot of women say that we don't settle. No, we settling. We settling for this crap. That's what we're doing. And we got to be able to wake up and say, man, enough of that, man. I don't want no woman running around out here disrespecting herself. Is this that's not what, because obviously you got to look at my child. If I have a child with this woman, this is what she's going to show her. This is what she's going to reflect on her. So we got to think about that when we're choosing our mate, too. And you might look good. You might. It's a lust thing. We ain't about to wife you. But we're lusting over you because you're running around here half naked. But I ain't gonna wife you. Not wifing you. That's for sure.
Oh, there's no doubt.
No doubt. You have a very great point. You have a very great point.
That's a good. Yeah.
Because that can go on for another discussion. When it comes to, I've had discussion with women that I've known for years who come to me saying, "Why can't I find a man?" I was like, "Well, look at yourself. How you carry yourself.
Yeah, it's
the man. However you carry yourself is what you are attracting."
Right. It's not that you can't find a man. You can't find the right one.
That's right, because you're not the right one. Because if you was the right one, it wouldn't be hard for you to find a good man. Because trust me, there's a lot of good men out here that's looking for good women. And I'm not saying that it ain't a lot of good women out here, because there are a lot of good women out here.
Yes, it is. Plenty.
It's more good women out here, I think, than good men. To be honest with you.
It is.
I'm being 100. I'm being very transparent on that. But at the same time, the ones that are the bad apples wouldn't be bad apples if we stuck to our guns. That's what I'm saying. And that's what we have to do as men. But you know, like you say, you got a lot of guys that, you know, hey, they entertain that. They like that. They throwing bands in the club
You know,
all night. You
so,
know, they drop
yeah.
they bands. Yeah, you know.
And,
so
yeah.
you think they gonna stop? If you got these men out here lusting like this over them, of course they're not gonna stop.
Sex sales, sir.
Yeah, exactly. Fast money.
Cardi B had shared on her, I think it was either YouTube video or her TikTok video, but she was explaining, you know, she has a little girl, and she was explaining how the music that her mom, that she does, she don't let her daughter listen to none of that. And she explained why. It's because she don't want her child to grow up listening to that type of energy or that type of, you know, atmosphere, because she knows, she's been in that industry for years. She knows how it changes a woman's mentality. It changes a woman's appearance. She don't want her daughter to grow up like that.
Absolutely.
And that's coming from somebody who makes the music.
Yes.
So,
absolutely.
you know, and I give Cardi complete respect. I mean, she's a great mom to her daughter. She loves her and takes good care of her from what I'm seeing on social media. But for a person who's a celebrity who makes music off of that prerogative kind of stuff, type of sexuality type of music industry, provocative type of music, who don't want her child to listen or even to get any type of feed off of it, because I don't think any parent does.
Yeah, because we know that those are energies. And just like the movie Sinners, those are energies.
Yeah.
Those are demons. Literally. Those are jinns. They exist. And they're lust demons. They're jinns that actually, that's what they do.
Yeah.
But see, we don't go that deep. We just think it's surface. You know, this ain't surface. This is real life.
Yeah.
And these demons and these energies, they exist. And these, you know, they're here to take over you. You know, they're here to attract you. They're here to, you know, possess you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so we got to understand that a lot of us right now in this day and time is being possessed by these energies and these demons and these jinns. That's, you know, that's just lustful and you know, and sexual. You know, there's a lot of sexual ones, you know. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, come on. We got to wake up, and we got to really see this thing for what it is. We can't just keep walking like we don't know. You know, a lot of us don't know, but at the same time, when you wake up and see and get to the real bottom of this, this thing, these are energies. These are forces.
What were we
that
talking
exist.
about last week? You said synthetic love.
Oh man, we get on that next week. Next week we'll talk about
Synthetic,
that.
synthetic love.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next week. But at the same time, we have to understand that, you know, we are allowing these energies and these forces to possess us. You know, that's what's making us move every day. You know, they're going out. You know, hey. You know, it's the manipulation. It's the manipulation demon, the ones that manipulate.
Yeah.
You know, it's all all these forces, man. Because we got to understand. Because if you're in true alignment with the Most High, with God, you're gonna have balance.
Yeah.
You're not gonna partake in that. You know, but we have a lot of demonic energies.
Yeah, a lot of us
running around out here.
Exactly, and a lot of us, I believe, we need to. You know, we need to retrain our minds.
Yes.
Correct.
And that's the only way, especially now, with the way things are going now, we have to retrain our minds, and we have to take control. And you know,
yes, we have to wake up, man.
Yeah, we need to guard our gates, as they call it. You know,
Yes.
we need to guard
ear
what
gate,
we
nose gate, mouth
All
gate.
of
yeah,
that.
what we
All
consume.
of that. You're gonna have a lot of people mad at us
Yeah.
because that's what these people love. They live this life.
Yeah.
You understand? They don't want to hear that, you know? And that's what a lot of us don't want to hear, the truth.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, you're not going to wake up until you do. Or you're not going to even have a second thought until you hear the truth about this thing. So,
Correct.
because it's real. And as y'all see, day to day, it's getting more realer.
It is.
You know,
You
things
know-
are being revealed on the daily
Mm-hmm.
in this universe right now.
And I think we had a previous discussion about how school districts are introducing new type of resources in schools that, you know, a lot of parents are not agreeing with, because it's making their kids learn stuff that a parent should teach their child. So once again, it's what we allow to be taught and to be released to our kids to see. So if a school is trying to teach something that a parent should be teaching, that's not good. That means we're not fulfilling that responsibility that a parent's supposed to be doing.
Yes.
So
well, you got to understand, once you sign that birth certificate over at the hospital, it belongs to the state now.
That's it.
That child ain't yours.
It look like we have a caller.
Got a call.
This one?
Yep. Thank you for calling Talk Show Kings.
Hello? Hello? Can you hear us?
Must have hung up.
I guess they didn't want to talk. They didn't want to hear the truth.
Yeah.
Maybe it was our friend from last week.
Right, maybe it was our friend from last week.
Yeah.
He had second thoughts. So
Maybe
I
had
mean,
second thoughts, you know. But
But back to what you were saying about, you know, a lot of parents are now trying to take a stand on what they're showing and teaching our kids in schools these days because, like you say, the state think they are the states. They are the governments, you know, pretty much.
Yeah.
You
so
know?
if we want to be careful,
they had the schools longer than they with their parents a lot of times when they're in school.
Well, we're gonna go to our final thoughts. What do you have as your final thoughts for today, King Jason?
well, once again, I want to give all the moms and grandmas and aunties who are mothers, I want to give you guys a full-hearted gratitude for all your hard work that you have done for your kids, even for my parents as well. You know, without you guys in our lives, we would be pretty much nothing. And just want to say thank you and happy Mother's Day.
King D?
I second that. I want to say happy Mother's Day to my beautiful mother. I love you. You're always in my thoughts. And to all the other great mothers out here that's doing y'all's job. And, you know, and to the ones that, you know, may be lacking, hey, step your game up. You know, hey, we're in the 9th inning right now. So, you know, either we winning or we losing.
Yep, and on that note, I send a happy Mother's Day to my mom, happy Mother's Day to my wife, my daughter, and to all the mothers around the world. We thank you for tuning in to TV 1061 on YouTube and Roku TV 1061, and we'll catch you again next week.
Peace.
Peace.
You are tuned in to Talk Show Kings on TV 1061.
Man, what they gonna do with this black on black crime, man? I'm sick of this. Thank you for watching another edition of Talk Show Kings on TV 1061. We'll be seeing you soon.